Part 28. Come on, join us. Please like and subscribe, then relax and enjoy. Sometimes they'd ride for days, till they could find the right place. Bonnie would always help Clyde when he was casing a job, but dodgy jobs they often let slide. Still, often had they bags of cash, Bonnie giddy at such greenback stash, but Raymond decided to leave, sour at Bonnie getting a cut of the loot, calling them unprofessional to boot. In Billy and Elsie, willing confederates they had, providing covert assistance a tad. On errands Bonnie and Clyde would them send, clothes shopping for them they sometimes did, stylish and expensive, 'twas a blast for a kid. Her first Christmas away, Bonnie got her nephew Buddy a trike, snuck up to the porch, left it, and locked eyes with the tyke. Then she'd smiled to Buddy, waved and fled. They tried to convince Buddy it was Santa Claus who'd been, but Buddy insisted it was Bonnie he'd seen. That Christmas Eve, 1932, Clyde's brother L.C. was riding along with 16-year-old W.D., a childhood friend who was pumping gas at the Barrows Star service station for pocket money. L.C. was out to rendezvous with Clyde and Bonnie. Clyde and Bonnie seemed well put together, looking glamorous in their new car, both dressed up to the nines. The illusion too much for W.D. He begged to with them ride. Reluctantly, Clyde and Bonnie took W.D. on side. Driving through snow and sleet and howling wind, rain, thunderstorms, mud, freezing cold, dreary fog, stifling heat, clouds of dust, humid days, wet with sweat, but many a day was sunlit, warm and fine, and many a night was moonlit, still and divine. Though of storms Bonnie was deathly scared, fearing thunder and lightning more than a gunfight, shivering and shaking, fearing they were all going to die, said in a gunfight she knew where the bullets were coming from, while from a storm there was no fight or flight. Clyde was the boss. He always had it his way. Their stolen car he considered his. Everything was gonna be how he'd say. He'd make up his mind, and that was that, though consider Bonnie's input he may. Bonnie often questioned Clyde's actions, would put forward different points of view. She often dissented, and gave instructions too, with feelings and gut suspicions often true. They needed all their collective wits to get safely through. Clyde often cleaned and oiled their guns, with Bonnie squatting right by his side, holding and passing, helping and guarding, for they were the tools of their trade, and the difference between life and death they made. Target practice they often shot, to keep their gunplay sharp and hot, and exercised a lot, so they could better run and fight, and be captured not. In conditions so cramped, tempers often flared and raged. Bonnie, going home to Mama, threats often staged, with epic fallouts like two mad teens over as little as a tin of sardines. Bonnie would yell at Clyde, "Try to get smart again, and I will too go home to my mama." Clyde would yell at Bonnie, "You try it, old sugar, and if the law doesn't kill you, I will." But Bonnie knew she couldn't go home to her mama, for the laws would come and take her away to jail, just like from her home, in front of her, they'd taken Clyde. She knew her only two choices were prison or to ride, and freedom felt better than a life inside. Clyde sometimes so mad got that throw Bonnie he'd do, she'd leap right up and come right back remonstrating, upset she wanted him to know it too. Bonnie sometimes got so hot, a gun on Clyde she'd point, threatening that if he didn't back off, he'd by her be shot. But Clyde was scared of Bonnie not. He'd just go into a sulk or walk off a short way, for death by Bonnie's hand Clyde did not fear, he'd say. He trusted Bonnie with his life, and if it was her wish to kill him, then so be it, for he anyway had to die some day. But they always made up, kissed and hugged, for each other they deeply loved, and cared for one another in a most profound way. End of part 28. Come on, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. The next part is coming soon.